friends. How are you this morning? I am coming to you live from a completely overcast day. It is so beautiful. It is well past the time when the library opens, but Clementine is just chilling. I am just laying. It is very, very lovely. This is what happens as the temperature drops and the days get shorter and we get closer to wintertime. It becomes now difficult to get into the library because we can just lounge very comfortably in the car, even without being in a parking garage. So at some point, I have to force myself and Clementine in to the library so that we can at least charge her little fan, because Clementine, there she is. It's the baby. Look at her baby. She loves the little fan. She has to have that. Actually, we didn't have it for a very long time. I don't even know how we survived. During the COVID era, we were outside all year, never went inside except for to go to the grocery store, and we didn't have a fan. It's amazing how the human body, the human mind, the human spirit will just adapt to whatever it is, and kind of survive. Now, I'm not going to lie, it took quite a toll on us, and I don't think I've ever been the same. With the sun, especially, my relationship with the sun has soured. And if you've seen some of my videos, my relationship with the sun is not the only entity in the sky that has soured, but it's just really fascinating at what people can endure, and it's also really fascinating that it's not that bad to be outside as long as the sun is out of my face. Other people do not feel this way about the sun, but I don't know if other people have been exposed to it the way that I have, in that same way. And I guarantee you, anybody outside all year for 2020, because I know I was the only person, doesn't like the sun as much as they used to. But other than that, that is just what I was going to say today. And I would have been coming to you from a walk, but Clementine is just lounging. Anyway, but like I said, we did not have the fan. I didn't even turn on my phone. I can't remember how I even charged my phone, because at some point it was an entire year, so I had to charge my phone. And I can't even remember how. I think I charged it while I was driving. I would not use it, so it barely ever went down, but eventually it would go down, because sometimes I would have to be waiting for a phone call or something, and it would go down, and then I would charge it back up when it was driving. I don't think it was ever at 100%. And that was the only thing that really needed some kind of attention. And that was it. Everything else was analog. Everything else was off the grid. And we just sat in the parking lot, various parking lots, and in the park, and walked around and everything. And it was wild. Oh, and another thing, it's just cars are not insulated very well. So once winter came, it was freezing. The problem that we had in the summer, it was too hot, it was too cold. And I finally discovered this thing called Reflectix, which is basically, if you've ever seen like a sun visor, it's made of this metal, and the metal is kind of insulated on the inside. I'm not exactly sure. It's like this some kind of alloy or some kind of textile, and it is a really good insulator. And I fashioned window coverings out of it and put it on the windows, and it was a game changer. Once I put those on, it changed the whole interior of the car, and we weren't cold anymore. But it was a wild. The whole thing was wild. And on the days when it was just the sun was gone, it was easier to think, it was easier to move, it was easier to breathe, we could just relax. It was very, very crazy. But I do prefer to not have the sun in my face. Okay, thank you. Hello, friends. It is merely minutes after I made that last video, and as soon as Clementine saw me getting up and like pulling my phone out, she got up too, and she's ready to rock and roll. So at least you get to see, look at the day. It's completely overcast. I love it so much. Maybe I would like the Pacific Northwest. I don't know, because I love at least a good big chunk of the year to be out of sun. Although it rains. Is there a time when there's no sun and no rain? I researched this, and I think it's Alaska. One thing that the precipitation, right, in general is not high because it only snows. But like snow is a problem. When I was thinking about Alaska, that place in Alaska that seems really cool, all of their precipitation comes from snow. which is, I think, infinitely worse than rain because it's freezing rain. Like, it's little bits of rain that are ice. I'm not into that. That's crazy. On a day like this, I feel like anything's possible. I feel like we could do anything we wanted to because we don't have to run and seek shelter. And obviously being outside really sucks in general, living outside. But the sun is the reason for me to seek like shelter. I want to shelter, what I'm trying to shelter out of more than any other element is the sun. And then the rain. See? That's the problem with the Pacific Northwest. The rain for me, as I've mentioned before in videos, is even more debilitating than sun. And the wind, like a heavy wind, is pretty crappy, but it's still livable. But the sun and the rain are the absolute worst. And that's what makes, I think, life on Earth the most difficult, and particularly for somebody in 2025 because of how big the hole is in the ozone layer, how bright the sun is, how hot the Earth has gotten because of all the people and all of the pollution. That's what makes it really, really difficult. The breeze. I should really even have on a sweatshirt, but it's just so nice to feel this kind of breeze. This, like, the sun is pulled back from the Earth, even at the beach, and that's my favorite time of year. Look at this, guys. This is a piece of a tree. Is that not the coolest thing? Look at it. It's like a piece of wood. It's almost like plastic. It has water in it. It's like a giant leaf. It came from, I have no idea. Because there honestly isn't even a tree around this area that looks like this. Is that cool? Or what? Probably be a palm tree. Do you hear how hard it is? That is sick. I love stuff like that. Where did it come from? It is super cool. And the tree, is it a palm tree? That is neat though, right? But like, this is the nearest tree. That's the nearest palm tree. It doesn't look like it has anything like that on it. And then the next nearest palm tree is that. So where did it come from? Super cool though, right? Okay, I wanted to talk about something else that's fascinating that I don't think a lot of people think about. Southern California, as you can see by these beautiful, luscious trees behind me, is like a very semi-tropical environment. Do you know what another, like, very tropical, I don't even know how to call it a tropical, it's like a jungle environment is? New York City. It's literally a jungle if you took all those buildings down and the earth grew back over the island. It's a jungle. That's why they call it a concrete jungle. It's literally jungle vibes. I want to see that in my lifetime too. Fuck it.